Hello and welcome back to A Boring Revolution, your number one news source for everything in regards to The Boring Company. Hello everyone, welcome back for another live episode. I've not done anything for quite a while, so I thought I'd just come on and just do a general chat. There's not really any specific news that's come out recently that has been worth making an episode about, but I'm going to be doing some general talking point episodes over the next 2 to 3 days. Let's see who we've got in the chat. Jill Yee, how you doing? Are you bored? If you are bored, let's get started. 112 flamethrower ready. Yes. It's a shame that he didn't make more flamethrowers because you can sell those things for a fair good price now. So, what should we talk about today? Well, I thought we could talk about just some general topics. I'm desperately trying to get photographs of the actual progress on site in Las Vegas, and I'm just coming up stumps. Nothing. No one's posting anything. The original person that posted the pictures of the TBM arriving on site, I've messaged them on Twitter. I spoke to them. I tried to message them again. Nothing. Getting nothing from that. Also tried on Reddit to try and get some pictures. As of yet, nothing. No pictures. What I'm after basically is just someone on site, or someone who lives near Las Vegas. I appreciate Las Vegas is kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's not really any surrounding towns, but is there anyone in Las Vegas that potentially could just nip down to the site and get a few pictures? Because they're building the TBMs as we speak, and we're going to learn more about the TBMs by taking pictures of them being assembled and then analysing that, then taking a couple of pictures towards the end when the TBMs are already assembled, because we've missed all the progress essentially. A couple of people have reached out. This guy, Riley Will, I live in Las Vegas, and might be able to get some pictures. I'm just hoping that someone can fix me up with some pictures fairly soon. Let's just check out. Let's just have a look at that. Google. Hello, Boring Calgary. How are you doing, mate? Good to see a few people in the chat today. Let's just get going with the main body of our talking point today. First of all, if you've not subscribed to this YouTube channel, please like and subscribe to this video. Subscribe to the channel. That way, if you hit the bell icon, you'll get notifications of all the videos. I'm also pretty live on Twitter. That's kind of my main social media avenue. Just thought we'd go through a few things that we've been learning over the past week. So one of the main things that I came across was in my old stomping ground up in Hull in Yorkshire. They've built a tunnel underneath the River Humber. The River Humber is quite a shallow river. It's only around 10 to 15 foot deep at its deepest point, but it is very, very wide. It's close to 500, 600 foot wide, maybe more than that, maybe close to 800 foot wide at some points. And they've basically got some gas lines that run under. Well, they kind of run in the Humber. It's a strange kind of situations. They dropped these gas pipes on the bottom of the Humber and then covered them up. These gas pipes over time, this gas main has become corroded and is not very effective at moving gas across the river. So they decided to replace it with this tunnel. Now, this tunnel is almost identical in terms of diameter to the Boring Company tunnel in Hawthorne, California, and the Las Vegas Loop project. And it's just quite fascinating to learn how they are doing it and sort of what's different about this particular tunneling project. To be frank with you, they're using quite old technology. The ground conditions in Hull, and I've worked in Hull many a time, are horrendous, especially next to the river. We're talking lots of clay deposits, very soft ground, very loose ground. They managed to achieve 9.1 meters per day, which might sound pretty pathetic, but considering the ground conditions, that is just a beauty, absolute beauty that they can achieve that. Obviously, the Boeing company is going to be achieving, hopefully, near a triple, quadruple that number, but we'll have to see. The best example that I can find of a TBM that's really excelled, they really are top of the class in terms of speed and efficiency, is this Robins TBM here. I know I've talked about this in the past, but it's just so impressive that I couldn't stop myself from talking about it again. They averaged 700 plus meters per month in this Nepal project. Granted, it was quite hard ground, so it made it a little bit easier for them. But there were still problems. There were a couple of times when the machine itself got stuck. They had to actually build like a diversion tunnel to get around it and then free up the cutter head. There were 2 months in particular where they achieved just under 1,000 meters in a month. That is unbelievable kind of progress. If the Boeing company could get close to that, that would be outstanding. Obviously, ground conditions vary from place to place, but just in terms of looking at this as a case study, that is outstanding. Robins deserve a lot of credit for that. Another thing that I came across was I was just basically on Twitter having a look around at the news, and then I seen this by Bloomberg. Bogota, the city in Brazil, has awarded a contract to a Chinese company to build basically a metro system. It's basically on an aqueduct, as it were, a raised road on columns, 15 miles for $4 billion. At first I thought it was some kind of mistake, and I read the article, and we're not talking big stations here either. There's no kind of underground sections or anything. It's just the fact that they've had to acquire so much land and work basically alongside the highway in large parts. It's ended up costing, or it's going to cost, estimates up $4 billion. Now, if they're saying it's going to cost $4 billion, the chances are it's going to be closer to $5 billion when they actually finish that. But that is just insane. When you think that the Boeing company can build a tunnel for around $10 million at present using the existing machine, that's going to continually improve. $4 billion for 15 miles. I think I worked it out at something like $266 million per mile. I just can't get my head around that. Why are we still building like this when we can go underground? And this is another example of where the Boeing company is just going to outcompete all the other mass transit systems. The cost per mile, the speed of construction, the fact that the construction is not affecting people on the surface, there's way less disruption, and the fact that you can just use multiple TBMs to speed up the process even further just shows you how far ahead we are of these kinds of projects. What else have I been talking about this week? There's been continued progress in the wind industry, offshore wind farms in the UK. We regularly get days where we're getting 35 to 40% of our electricity in any given hour from wind. So with nuclear power on top of that, we're regularly getting more than 50% from low carbon intensive power sources. And I think that's about it in terms of what I've been covering on Twitter today. Again, just covering this on Reddit. If any of you who are watching this video now, maybe you're watching it after I have posted it on YouTube, if you live in Las Vegas or near Las Vegas and you think that you can get down to the site at the Las Vegas Convention Center, please drop me a line, and hopefully might be able to form a bit of a partnership. We can get some photographs. You definitely get a shout out on this channel. Definitely get a lot of praise from me. It would really help me if I have pictures of the progress on site. Then I can explain exactly what's happening to you good people, talk about progress, talk about the methods they're using to construct the various elements of the job. I've already talked about this, but here is this Robbins TBM. Project finished early. How often do you see that? The actual tunnel boring machine is actually bigger than the one that the boring company is going to use. So that tells you that maybe this 1,000 meters per month could be improved upon. So we've got a 14-foot or just slightly below 14-foot diameter machine for the boring company. This is 16, just around 16.5 foot, 16 foot 6, 1,000 meters per day in some instances, which is just incredible. Notice how these concrete segments are interlocked in a slightly different way than we have seen in the past. I've never seen it done like that, but there might be a very good reason for that. It probably does actually improve the structural integrity of the tunnel lining, so it'll be interesting to see how the boring company do it if they just use traditional. Here is the machine itself. And what I want to say as well is I'm becoming a little bit frustrated at the lack of information coming from the boring company. We're getting nothing. If we go on the boring company website, nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. It's the same pictures. It's the same headlines. Nothing has changed. If we go, for example, the only bit that's changed recently is this jobs section, which is good. That means that they're actually getting people to use on the site. They're trying to find their expertise. If we go to project, there are I've got a piece of software that tracks like changes on websites. The only thing that really changed, this picture has changed recently. I've just noticed that. Some of the content has changed, but all in all, not very much going on. Why is the boring company Twitter page has posted next to nothing? Absolutely nothing. The guy running the boring company for Elon Musk, you're not hearing anything. He should be marketing this project. He should be promoting it. He should be up-talking the potential of the boring company. You could argue that essentially I am doing more marketing for the boring company than the boring company itself. Why am I not getting paid? But no, but in all seriousness, the boring company needs to take a leaf out of Tesla's book and just get on the Twitter all the time and make it into some kind of fun thing where they're promoting the products. Now that they've got a project actually going in Las Vegas, we should be seeing loads of pictures. We should be seeing videos of the machine. We should be hearing interviews with the people that are working on the job. We should be hearing interviews with the people that are going to benefit from this, the Las Vegas Convention Center. There is absolutely nothing going on in terms of them reaching out and trying to market this project. Teslarati, which is usually a great place to get news on the boring company, there's nothing. I've not seen anything. This article here, the boring company's Las Vegas Loop Tunnel project is coming to life. That's two and a half weeks ago. There's just nothing. Nothing's going on. Let's see what's going on with the question. See what you're thinking. Hello, Ashley Hill. Yes. Well, as you've probably heard, there is not very much going on. So I thought I'd just come on, do a general chat today, tell you about a few things that I've picked up on, other bits of news about tunnelling. As always, one of our regulars is here, Cormac McKay. How are you, sir? The only contact I've had is from the legal team. There has been so much bad information, it's possibly best to keep it secret. Really? Really? Can you elaborate on that a bit, Cormac? What do you mean? In terms of the Las Vegas project? Because I've honestly found very, very little information in regards to it. If there's something going wrong, I'd love to hear about it, and then I can sort of investigate it. Just another thing while I'm thinking about it. I had to take comments down for this video on the channel. I don't know if you remember this video. Maybe you've not seen it yet. It's definitely worth a watch. The Boring Company, Elon Musk, explores the Katara Lake project. Now, the idea was that there is a natural depression in this area. It ranges from about 15 meters to 60 meters below sea level. And the idea was to build some tunnels that would then move seawater from the Mediterranean into this depression. There'll be 4 tunnels in total. And once that lake is full up, then we could develop the land around the lake as some kind of resort or luxury sort of gated community for people in Egypt, and maybe a few European people as well. A lot of people liked the video. I was very surprised. It had over 30,000 views, a lot of comments. After it's been nearly a year now, just under 10 months, I just got very sick of the same questions. Is this lake going to become extremely salty? The saline levels will build up over time, and then it will become unusable. And it was just people asking the same question over and over again. So in the end, I removed comments from that video because what they're asking is based on false pretenses. The water flowing into that depression is not going to build up over time, because desalination plants are going to be removing water from the lake and also removing salt from that water. Then that fresh water is going to be coming back into the lake once it's been used. Also, through reverse osmosis, seawater will flow from the lake into the Mediterranean Sea. Therefore, the levels of salt in the water will remain near normal levels for seawater in that area. So it was just a bit of frustration on my part that I kept having to answer the same question over and over again. I think it's a great little project. I'm trying to think of other things that I can do that are similar to that, but possibly my most successful video of all time. But unfortunately, I had to remove comments because of the stupid questions. A lot of people were getting really angry about the idea as well, which seemed a bit strange, because the area is basically a desert and no one lives there, so it can't exactly get any worse. So that is all I have to talk about today. So what I'm going to do is go to the questions and see what you guys have got for me. Any questions, anything in regards to the Boring Company, Elon Musk. I unfortunately do not take Brexit questions. If you wanted me to ask me, I have some opinions on that, but this is not a political channel. So we'll stick to the Boring Company. Oh gosh. So Musk on Mars, tunneling neighbourhoods 2030. Liz Mark. I think it's going to be a lot longer than that, Liz Mark. I think we're talking 25 to 40 years from now, maybe. Although living underground on Mars is the best option. A lot of people think that terraforming Mars is going to be some kind of quick process and that it could be quite easy to do. From what I've read about terraforming Mars, at the bare minimum it's going to take 500 to 600 years, and also it will never get to the same extent as Earth it will always be like a distant second in terms of pressure and the concentrations of oxygen in the air. So living underground in chambers, almost like these contained greenhouses, is probably the best way to live on Mars. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no reason why you couldn't have large settlements of thousands and thousands of acres, which are mostly underground, and then have sort of like maybe like trains or something interlinking those settlements. People could still live very healthy and prosperous lives in those kind of situations. Not to use logos. So have the Boeing company contacted you, Cormac, in terms of saying, hey, don't use logos? Not to use logos. Yeah. Oh, that I'm sorry to hear that. Is the only evidence of work being done only revealed to the public? What evidence would reveal that work is being done that is not revealed to the public? RF2LAC. I don't really know how to answer that question, to be honest with you. It doesn't really. What you can see is what is happening. The reason the Boeing company are not telling us what's happening is probably, should I say it? Should I speculate? Because things are maybe not going as well as they should do. That's a very high probability. I can't think as to why they would not show more images and publicise this project. Matt Senko, in terms of what they've done, they have built a new TBM almost from scratch. That is Linestorm. That is the machine that is on site now in Las Vegas. The reason I know that for certain is someone spoke to me on Reddit and they said that the machine that was at Hawthorne was disassembled and then moved over a period of 4 days, and they think that that is the same machine that is at Las Vegas Loop. I pretty much 99% sure that is the case. Wow, that's not good. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, that's very... You know what, Cormac? I'm very disappointed with that. I'm disappointed that the Boeing company wouldn't at least write you a polite notice saying that at the moment they don't have the capability to do projects in Europe or something along that line, rather than kind of just saying we're not interested, which is disappointing. If the Boeing company are not interested, it's going to be difficult to find something that's going to compete with a metro system, even one that costs $5 billion. It would either have to be some kind of trolleybus system, which would cost less but cause more disruption. It's very, very limited, unless you went underground with everything and tried to do a London-esque underground railway type system, but again, that could cost probably way more than $5 billion. Hypersciences. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Cormac. Disappointing. I mean, I can understand why they want to focus on the USA, because they've not finalised the technology yet. They're still working on the technology. They're trying to progress the machines and adapt them. So maybe moving to Europe only 2 to 3 years after they formed is a bit of a stretch, but it would have been better if the Boeing company had wrote to you and said that we might consider operating in Dublin in the next 10 to 15 years, but at the moment we're going to focus on the USA. Dublin could have been a really big market for the Boeing company, a springboard into the rest of Europe. So the fact that they've turned you down is not great. Okay, so we're coming up to 30 minutes now, so I'm going to say any more questions and then I'm going to call it a day. Yeah, like I say, this is another frustrating thing. We've heard about the Boeing company China and that there was going to be an announcement, but then there was no announcement, and then there's been no explanation as to why the announcement was cancelled. So it's all a bit chop and go. Question from Brian Bull. Any update on the Boeing company China? Absolutely zilch. Zilch. It's disappointing when someone says or makes a promise that they're going to make an announcement and then they don't make the announcement, and then even worse, they don't explain why they didn't make the announcement, Brian. So, a big letdown by Elon Musk. The problem is, and this is the problem is with the Boeing company, is that Elon Musk is the main guy. And the problem is, Elon Musk is very, very stretched. He's stretched between Tesla, and he's stretched between SpaceX, and he's stretched between Neuralink. So we've got 4 companies now. Yeah. 2 of them are multi-billion-dollar companies. I believe that Neuralink and the Boeing company are also multi-billion-dollar companies in the next 3 to 5 years. You can't do it. It's impossible. There's never been a businessman in history who's been able to manage even 2 multi-billion-dollar companies. What Elon Musk needs to do is he needs to form a holding company and then appoint CEOs to all these companies. And then he can kind of try and oversee things. But the main day-to-day running of a company must be done by the CEO or the CFO. And the fact that Elon Musk wants to micromanage everything, don't get me wrong, he's very good at micromanaging things and kind of progressing ideas and trying to adapt technology. But, there's only 24 hours in a day. You can't run 4 companies successfully. It would please me no end if he left SpaceX. Let the woman who currently is the CEO at SpaceX run it entirely, and then hire some more people at Tesla to kind of run it for him, and then move on to his focus on Neuralink and the Boeing company. That's what his focus should be, because Tesla and SpaceX can essentially run themselves. There's no requirement for some kind of big change in mission statement or goals or kind of how they operate. Just keep doing what they're doing. If SpaceX and Tesla just keep doing what they're doing, then they will continue to grow. So he doesn't need to worry about them for the next 5 years. Let's see what else. We've got a few questions coming in. Who are the investors at the Boeing company? I have no idea. I think it is a very guarded secret, to be honest with you, Cormac. Something about Musk creating a Chinese construction company, but unsure which companies are involved. He probably has created it, but why hasn't he announced it? Unless something has gone pear-shaped. I don't know. Maybe he's just created it and he's just waiting for it to develop something before he makes the announcement. Any jobs posted for China on the website? Brian Bull, question of the day. Let's have a look. No, doesn't look like it. There's a lot of interesting jobs. Electromechanical technician. Technical recruiter. Business development lead. Document control specialist. Senior tunnel engineer. No. So, nothing for China. Anything is unveiled at CES. Yeah, could be something. I hope to God that we have this project finished before CES 2021. Because if this project is late, Jesus, the shit will really hit the fan. Not to mention Ad Astra School. Thinking of going, yeah. I'd love to go to CES. I watch it every year religiously. Oh, really? Hey, where's my invitation? You know what? I've been very lazy about reaching out to the Boeing company, but I'm kind of like it's made me even more apprehensive now that you've said those things, Cormac. Yeah, another good question, Brian. I don't know. I think they converted that building. I went on Google Maps and had a look, and they had converted the facade of that building. But whether it's just an empty shell, I mean, did they have any material to make the bricks? Yeah, 2020 opening. Yeah, it's going to be tough, that. Jesus, I think even with 4 machines, you'd struggle to get 2020, mate. It's hit a brick wall and thought, is that a joke? Right, guys, I think I'm going to call it a day. So, thank you very much for joining me. If you have any, if you are based in Las Vegas and you think that you can sort of help me out, come and contact me, because I'm available here at Twitter and also have my email address here. So if you're based in Las Vegas and you have some spare time to go to the Las Vegas Convention Center and take some pictures, absolutely, definitely do so. If you can, reach out to me before you do, and I'll try and help you as to where you need to go and what kind of things I'd like pictures of. But mainly the TBM, the excavation, the secant piles, and any of the machinery that's on site, any of the construction equipment. All that would be fantastical. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Remember, guys, don't be boring. Thank you to all my patrons, by the way. Appreciate the support every month. Fantastic. Okay, guys, thank you and goodbye. We'll see you soon. Have a great evening and have a good night. Goodbye.